Welcome to Quilt-Cam, everyone. It's the 24th of May, and I am home for more than a week, and I am just ecstatic to be able to spend some time working on some projects while I'm home for an extended period of time. Who would think that Memorial Day is like right around the corner? It's coming up, and once Memorial Day hits, I know that for many life gets crazy. High school graduations, college graduations, weddings, family reunions, family trips. It's going to be a wild and crazy summer, but I hope that you'll find some piecing time along in amongst everything that we have to do as a family. Just got back from teaching for the Pride of the Prairie Quilters in Plainfield, Illinois. Spent my time in Joliet and Cedar Hill. Our workshops were held at Robert's Sewing Center. If you ever have a chance to go, Robert's Sewing Center, you can spend hours there. There's thousands of bolts of fabric, but one of my favorite things is that they are also a distributor of reconditioned vintage industrial machines. So I went through all of the machines and petted each one and saw the different jobs that each machine has, and it made me really appreciate what we have. There was a vintage machine or two that I would have loved to have taken home, but the price and the weight and the space just wouldn't allow me to fit them into my suitcase. But there was one machine that had it was a split foot, so it had a left side of the foot that worked with one shaft, and the right side worked with another shaft. And this foot really did walk its way down the fabric. The needle went through a hole in one of the feet to really hold layers together. And I thought to myself, wouldn't that be a fabulous binding machine? I loved it, but in the meantime, I'm playing with a 1950s green Brother. It says Brother on the underneath side of the machine. On the top, it says BRYSON, B-R-Y-S-O-N, and it's kind of a decal name. So it's like if you order X number of these, you can put whatever name you want on them. They would make them for whatever store wanted to have their own logo on the machines. It's what we call a badged machine. So it says BRYSON, but it's a Brother, and it's a lovely shade of green and really fun to sew on. I've been working, well, gosh, I haven't touched these since the last Quilt-Cam, to be honest with you. But these are our little garlic knots blocks. And the last time our Quilt-Cam worked, when we had sound, I was able to crank out quite a few of these. One of the questions that I often get is, how can you mix true white backgrounds with backgrounds that are more creamy or beigey, or even backgrounds that have black and white print? Some have florals. This one's even quite a little bit busier, but you'll notice with this floral that I've used mostly a tone-on-tone for the block design itself. So if I have something busy somewhere, I'll usually pair something that's not so busy next to it. My whole rule for myself is I can get away with really busy backgrounds that are not all stark white, as long as I have some of everything in there. So I wouldn't want to have 75% white on white prints and then stick in this cream print that has all these moda designers on it, because it's going to stick out like a sore eye. But if I start out with the intention that I'm going to use a wide variety of everything, including some plain white on whites and creams on creams, then I can actually work in things like a barely off-white with a little bit of green detail. This is more of a cream with the gray little print. Can you see that? The camera's kind of got to catch that there. And then, of course, we've got the beloved circus men in purple stripe. I think I'm done with these guys. I think that's as much as I have for these strong acrobats that are standing on each other's shoulders. But yes, you can, because what your eye picks up from 6 feet away is not the print on the fabric, it's the value of the fabric. These are all lighter than medium. They don't go very dark at all, and I'm making sure that they don't go much darker than this creamy beige right here. But if you include a lot of everything, boy, you would be amazed at what you can sew up out of your stash. And I think it makes the quilt really fun to use many things versus just one background fabric for the entire quilt. This little piece with these little pink roses is vintage. I'm not sure what year. It might be 60s. It might be 50s. It was only 36 inches wide. But I'm having fun pulling these fabrics into my blocks, and they do look a little bit modern. So as I'm working on my project, I hope that you brought something to play with. I do love this block. I remember sewing this one. So this one has kind of this poisony green check looking thing, and then this plaid in here. None of these colors are in the background fabric. Can you see that? None of them are. You don't have to match your fabrics exactly. In fact, it adds a lot more interest if you don't. Things can clash, things can contrast. Try to stay away from the matchy. So I hope that you'll sew along with me tonight. Maybe you're cutting something and pressing something and kitting something up to go on retreat. Maybe you're going on a family vacation and you're going to take along a hand project and you're prepping that applique to go with you. Maybe you are not even going to sew tonight at all. You're going to knit something, or you're going to applique while you're with me. Whatever it is, I hope you enjoy the time that we have together. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. If this is your first time with me on Quilt-Cam, you can always reach me by email. My email address is quiltville@gmail.com. QUILTVILLE@gmail.com. Especially if you want to send me photos. That's the only way to get me a photo, so that I can see your quilt and comment on it and share it with others. If you are on my blog, you can also leave a comment in the comment section. That shows up in my email, and I can answer your questions and stories that way. You can use the guest book button in the left-hand side column of the blog if you are on a regular computer, not on a mobile device. If you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment there, and that will also go to my email. But what I can't reply to, because I'm not on that page, is anything Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever related, because I've got my screen just here with the Google Hangouts, and that's the only thing that I can see from here, or what I can get by email on my phone. I had a funny story. In fact, I may need to, well, that light turns on, so this one should turn on. If it doesn't turn on, I'm up a crick. Are we gonna work? Guess what? I have the coolest thing that somebody's sent me so that I don't forget to turn off the iron, right? Well, it turned off the iron, and it's on the wall. She sent me a little receptacle to plug in my machine and the iron to, and if the light on the machine is on, then I know that the machine's on. But guess who forgot to turn it on before they came and sat down? I can't sew without this on. So hang on just a second. I'm going to turn that on. I'll be right back. There we go. Did you guys see that light come on? This is my remote control. Watch the light right here. Ta-da! But I also think it automatically shuts off after a certain amount of time. So we will turn it on. There we go. This is so Bonnie does not leave the iron plugged in for 5 days straight while she's at the cabin. All right, so here we are. I've started making another block. I'm making sets. While I've got this block this far, I can start sewing the next one. And what I did today was went through all the pile of 2-inch strips that was sitting on my table, and I cut pieces, and everything is kitted up and ready to roll. So these are the main block fabric. I'm going to lay these here. If I tilt this, I think you can see what I'm doing here, but then you can't see my head. This is what happens when Bonnie has too much excitement in one day. So the excitement that happened today, I got the PDF printout of my new book by FedEx. They brought it. They also brought my new ruler set, just the prototype, so that I can work with them and see if there's any fine tuning that needs to be done. But things are happening, and I'm just so excited and so grateful for all of this finally coming together. So as I am picking fabrics here, I'm not trying to be matchy-matchy. I'm just picking colors that I like. These are both tone on tone, but this one's a busy. This is not a busy. It's fairly solid. It's a hand dye. And I will put those down and then look at my neutrals and see if I can find something that I like with them. And remember, I'm not trying to be matchy-matchy at all. This is a strip that has sat in my stash for a long time because I really don't like it. Those mustard antique gold flowers, no, they shout 1960s, 70s to me, but they will look really pretty with this block. And the best part is they'll be gone. Okay, so let's sew. On this little BRYSON, it's straight stitch only. It's basically a class 15 machine. You can really recognize the class 15 because the tension dial is to the back left. And that gives me complete view here of what I'm working on with not having to watch the thread and no take up lever coming at me out the front. All the action is behind here. And she's just a real sweet sounder. I'd love to hear what you're working on. If you wanted to send me an email and let me know. And I'd especially like to welcome you if you are brand new to Quilt-Cam. I actually need to turn one of these blocks upside down so that I can see how I pressed. Okay, I pressed towards these. Okay. Sometimes it helps to take a second look. And here's the other little pieces I'm putting on. So my whole plan was if I had the whole quilt kitted up or what would fit in here, it could go to the cabin with me. And this would be an easy one to make as leaders and enders. If you want the pattern, it was found in an earlier Addicted to Scraps column. That is linked under the Addicted to Scraps column at the top of my blog. I can't remember the issue off the top of my head. But I did go and find the issue online as a digital download. So if you don't own that copy, you can still get it if you want to make your own garlic knots blocks. So I'm working on these using each block as the leader ender for the other. And the first block is a little bit ahead of the second block. And it helps to not have them in the same stage of progress. So I get the first one up to a certain point and then throw the second one into the mix. Out. Okay. Nope, that's got to go towards the center. I remembered on these that I had to press towards the light on the one strip set, and that just, it kind of stumps you for a minute. But it feels really good to be working on these again. Okay, so this is where the fun is. Here's our two halves. And when I bring the top one up and over, it becomes, you see they're the same, and then you do this. And it's really nice when the seams nest. Okay. How many of these do I want to make? I was thinking baby quilt, but who knows? They're so fun, I may go bigger. Okay. So now that one's done. It can stay in the machine. I don't need to take it out. This is that whole leader ender thing. You got to train yourself on always leaving something under the needle. Now see, that print doesn't look too shabby with that chartreuse green, does it? The crazy thing is that there's no chartreuse green in this print. There's a different blue green, and I can put blue greens and yellow greens together. They're not a problem that way. It's those army greens, those brownie greens that sometimes don't like to play well. But this is going to be a really nice combo, even though this weirdo green is not in this print. Okay, so these are going to go right sides together. There's many different ways to assemble these. This is what I have worked out to be the easiest for me to kit it up so it's ready to go on the road. Better than sewing from individual squares, and a little bit more accurate for me because shift happens. So got my little mat here, and I'm going to cut. There's a hinge right there. We've got to move that. Now, I'm not really great at cutting sitting down, but this makes it quick for Quilt-Cam. I can get 2 sections out of this one little matched strip set. So anytime I'm planning to do strip piecing like this, I want to add at least a ½ inch to the length of my strips just for trimming up and squaring to make sure that I have enough. So in this case, that's all that's left over, but that's all that I needed. And then these guys are ready to sew. We'll take your questions in just a second. I'm just going to run these through. Okay. And I feel that seam does not want to nest real well. Okay, so here's that first block. And if I weren't talking, this would be a lot faster. Are those fun? I just love them. I can't wait to see what I'm doing. I'm chasing around my foot pedal with my feet here. Okay, so let's look in and see who's joining us tonight. And it said Facebook isn't responding, but we're not in Facebook anyway. I think it's time for a new phone. This one has gotten so super slow. Facebook is super slow. Is anybody experiencing that besides me? Since Instagram made some changes, and you know they're integrated with Facebook now. If you look at your menu, if you're an Instagram user, if you look at your menu when you're ready to go into your news feed, you'll see that Instagram is right there in your menu on Facebook, and it's just like they've gotten too much integration, and everything is just slow. So here is, it says Toronto's in Kansas. Oh, I think she means tornadoes. Watching you on the iPad and also watching the weather on TV. This is from Laura Schmidt. She says, we're here in Kansas and tornadoes have been popping up in western Kansas, which is about 4 hours away. We're under a tornado watch though. I'm sewing the binding on a baby quilt tonight and enjoying listening to you. So you are in Kansas and it is tornado season. Yeah, baby, hang on to the roof. It's going to be a wild one. She says, can't wait till I get a copy of your new book. Wonderful. Well, I will sure let you know. One thing that people have asked is, are we going to do pre-orders? And the answer is yes, but it's not going to be a long-term pre-order. So consider this the pre-order, and we just hold on to your horses. What happens with the pre-orders is that they sit in my computer, and it's in the same place as regular orders. So you have to go through all of the pre-orders. You know, you might get 500 pre-orders, and in that 500 pre-orders that have come in that day, there's 4, 5, or 6 things that are regular orders that need to go out right away. And there's no way to filter them from one to the other, just that you have to find the ones that you can ship and the ones that you can't. So I won't be taking pre-orders until I know things are on the truck. I have ordered 1,000 copies delivered to my front door. So what was that? What was that? Sounds like a Google thing. Anyway, so there's going to be plenty of copies coming my way. As soon as I know they are on the truck from California, I'll start taking the pre-orders, because filtering through and printing out and marking some things as in progress and marking some things as shipped and having to go through each and every one and print mailing labels I'd rather deal with it all at once. I've done this enough times to tell you that pre-order status means nothing. You're still going to get it in just the same amount of time if you just hold your horses and wait until I start taking orders. I appreciate your orders. Something that a lot of people don't know is that if you order on Amazon, your author gets like 90 cents for the order that you placed. We get a small royalty. We don't get the lion's share of that purchase. I buy the books wholesale just like a store would, so that I can turn around and sell them retail. And I do sell a little bit under retail because I know I'm fighting with Amazon. I'm competing with Amazon, trying to get the sale. But I will make the shop's share. You know, the shop buys wholesale and sells at retail. I will make that share if you purchase from my website, which is why I do have an online shop business and not just let the stores or Amazon sell. Now, if you buy from your local shop, yes, you're supporting your local shop, but again, I just get a very small royalty that amounts to about 90 cents. Just letting you know how this works. So my suggestion is, if you have your favorite authors, buy your books directly from them. Save your money for the fabric at the fabric store, the thread at the fabric store, the notions at the fabric store, but support your authors by buying directly. And I will let you know just as soon as that truck is on its way and I have the tracking numbers and those are on their way, we will open up everything to pre-order status. And I am thinking that will be the end of August. I don't have delivery dates yet. Don't have, just got that PDF copy, and that has to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb and gotten back to my editor by Monday. So let's check in and see what else is going on here. I'm going to actually put this on vibrate. I was supposed to do that before, or the jingle jingle will drive you nuts. Okay. So Laura, I hope that no tornadoes come, and good luck on getting that binding done. Okay, Karen Nicholson says, glad to catch you tonight. I'm working on my patriotic Winston Ways wall hanging. Good girl. I use 2-inch blocks for the 4 patches, so mine will only be 1 block. So you'll have a nice 24-inch block doing that. She says, I'm making string blocks for the border. 4 more to make. Can't wait for your new book. And she's got pictures here. Let's see if I can get these pictures to open up. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and my favorite music fabric. She's got that in there. That's going to be just great. You know, Memorial Day kicks off flag season. I think I love having flags and patriotic stuff out for Memorial Day, Flag Day, 4th of July, all the way through Labor Day. So wonderful season to be doing that. Those are looking great. Send me a picture when it's done. That's going to be gorgeous. Okay. Must be the year for forgetfulness. Veterans Denim Lap Quilt. So this is from Marquet, and she has sent a quilt. She says, I have watched so many tutorials for like 5 years now, and in each one, almost all will have an Oliso iron that they are using. Well, last night while I was pressing my flying geese parts, I did something that I have never done before. I laid my iron on my ironing board and kept working, and you know the rest of the story. She's probably melted her ironing board. She's got pictures below of Burn, my block, and Veterans Denim Lap Quilt. Oh, wow. Yes, you did. You marked your ironing surface. So here is her Veterans Lap Quilt with denim. If I can get the picture to, oh, I see. It's not separate pictures. They're all 3 together. So she's got her lap quilt on the top and her flying geese one, and whoops, there's the burn mark. You know, that's one of the reasons why I don't have an Oliso iron. I know I have a reputation with irons. I tend to leave them on, but can you imagine if I got used to a machine that would raise itself up on feet and then went to work one that didn't raise itself up on feet? I'd really have a fire going. I love that denim quilt, Marquet. That is absolutely beautiful. What a great way to work with denim. Okay, Monica says, today, finally caught you live. How exciting. Here's a picture of my current project. I'm fixing this vintage quilt top that needed to be taken apart and re-sewn. And she's got a photo here. We have a new router as of today. It's supposed to be more speedy. So far, it's not. But I am in the basement, and I don't think I am connected to the extender. So this is what I get. It's not downloading. Come on, baby. Well, we'll just let, oh, there it comes. Oh, yay. It's a string quilt. And so she's repairing some string blocks. If I turn it that way, will it open up? There we go. Gorgeous vintage colors, pinks and yellows, just ready for spring. Love that. You know, it's really fun to see those old fabrics and wonder, you know, were they digging in the scrap bag, or was this left from a dress, or what is it? Mary Norris sent her completed garlic knots top. Very cute. She says, wanted to share my, I'm going to, if I click that, I can't read it, so I have to read it first. My sister won a bunch of green fat quarters at our last guild meeting, and she hates, and this is in capital letters, hates green. I happen to love green, so she gifted them to me. I added some brights and whites and quickly completed the attached top. Love all the patterns, and thanks for your quilty inspiration. So, oh, very cute. I love it. Let's see, will it go biggie if I turn it sideways? Yay. Okay, so there's her garlic knots, and she sent them in zigzag fashion with all those lovely greens in there. What I love about this block is it's asymmetrical, so you can set it in circles, or you can set them all diagonal one direction, or you can do this really funky zigzag thing, just like this. Okay. If you are sending me text messages to my phone, please email me. The text message interrupts other things that I'm trying to read, okay? So please, no phone texts, just email. It'll really help me out, okay? Thanks. So love that. Love that. All right. Let's lay out another one here. So I've got, are those the threes? Yes. Okay, so sometimes things shift over into the wrong pile. Okay, so we're going to do this, and then the two light ones go here. So I just kind of pick up what I think may work. That looks kind of fun. And then as I'm looking at this, I kind of look at whatever else is going on in this fabric, and it's kind of a ooh. So we'll find something else that might work with that one. What about this brown? Yep, I think that'll work. Okay. You know, brown, some people say, oh, I just don't understand brown. Well, you know, brown is good. Brown is the chocolate sauce that goes with everything else. Okay, now watch me run out of bobbin. Yes, I just did. That's okay. We've got more bobbin. We thought ahead and wound more. I should have known that was coming. This machine takes a class 15 bobbin. It's about as big as a Bernina bobbin. It holds a ton of thread, much more thread than, say, a featherweight or a 301. And I've got another bobbin in here. Oh, that one's got a snag in it. We'll use, there we go. I knew there was another one with gray on it. Oops. Runaway bobbin. You know, no matter how much you try to rehearse this and what you're going to say and what you're going to do, it's always a crapshoot. Things will shut themselves off, and the sound will go away, and bobbins will run out, and needles will become unthreaded, and you will end up with a big long piece of thread all over the floor. And we just go with it. Okay. I spent the time in Illinois sewing on a loaner 301, and the bobbin case threads the opposite direction because the thread comes from the inside out. But this one, the thread goes from the outside in, and so this bobbin threads the opposite direction. So I have to think about that. Okay, so I think, where were we? We're ready to roll. This was in the process of being stitched. How far did we make it? Okay, let's try that again. Where did we get to? I don't think that got to anywhere. Okay. Okay, and that's as far as I go on that one. So then I can do these ones. Periwinkle and bright green. I love together. You know your seam allowance is in the right spot if the rectangle you're adding to the pieced unit is the right size. That makes the seam work. Except, you know what I did? This goes to the other block. Not this one. Where did the little pieces go? Right here. Bonnie's having a moment. We'll have to unpick that other one. This is what happens when too many things are going through your brain at once, and you're live on camera, screwing things up in front of the world. Okay, so I sewed this one to the wrong guy. And of course, the seam ripper is up at the long arm. Oh, no, it's not. It's over here. Big honkin' seam ripper. Don't lose this one. Okay. Don't get your blocks confused. Honest to Pete. But just think how many blocks you could make in how many different combinations if you just cut the pieces from your scraps that were on your cutting table. I cut for quite a while with just what was on the cutting table. And that's just those two block pieces stay back there. These come forward. Okay, so here we have our two identical pieces. One comes under to become the bottom half. All right, we'll check the inbox here. I hear things jingling, so you guys are busy, 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 busy. Okay, we'll put those two sections together. There's the other pieces that go with those two. Okay. Love that garlic knots. That's so cute. Okay. Got to get back in the inbox here. In the guest book, this is Jill has posted a message to my guest book. Let's see what Jill has to say. Opening up here. The guest book is great for those who don't have a Google ID. It allows you to just make a generalized comment that might not specifically have to deal with any of the posts that are on the blog. The guest book button is easily found in the left-hand side column. This one says, from Jill, haven't watched you live for months. I'm on summer break from school and sewing pineapple blocks tonight. Went to the KISS Daytime Quilt Guild in Copley, Ohio today and saw someone's purple and gray Scrappy Mountain Majesty's Bonnie quilt. How fun! Time for lots of summer sewing on the picnic table at the campground. Doesn't that just sound wonderful? So she's going to have her picnic table set up and her sewing outside. Just remember the bug spray. That's the thing. You know, I love my mountains, but boy, are the bugs bad. And they love me. They just love me. They eat me alive. Sounds like great fun, Jill. Welcome tonight. I'm glad you're here with us tonight. And see my phone. I think it's just time for a new phone. This is a 2-year-old phone. Here's this one. Didn't it show up as Nell in Nebraska? I forgot that. Thanks you for using picture and video messaging by US Cellular. Hello, Nell. So glad you're with me. If you text me on the phone during Quilt-Cam, what happens is that this little message drops down while I'm trying to read everybody else's message and share their picture, and your message preempts theirs and gets right in my field of vision. So I respectfully ask, email me. If you want to talk to me during Quilt-Cam, please don't send a phone text. Use the email. It's easier for me to get to you that way. Thank you for understanding. It's not you, it's my phone. Okay, Kim Hager says, it's Kim from Kansas. Catching you live for the first time tonight. Here's a picture of the Texas braid I started in your Wichita workshop. So addictive. I love this pattern and have plans for 2 more quilts while using it. So here's Kim's braids using absolutely everything. And red cornerstones. Look at those neutrals. Aren't they great? Isn't that so much better than using just white on white? I love it. I love everything that you've got going on there, Kim. Glad you could join us tonight, and thanks for sending the photos. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, Karen Brule says, thanks for Quilt-Cam tonight. It's been a while since I've been able to catch live. I'm working on this Hexie baby quilt while some of my kids are cleaning up from dinner many years from now. This quilt will probably be for the baby of my 16-year-old daughter. I have stitched most of it while I am at her swim practices and meets. So she's stacking up the hope chest. And this is absolutely gorgeous. Wow, Karen, this is lovely. I've not seen this way of this pattern before. So she's got white hexie flowers or neutral hexie flowers inside of tone-on-tone diamonds with another white pathway separating those. That is absolutely stunning, and I love all of the colors that you've got going on in there. There's an idea for you hexie English paper piecing lovers. Beautiful. Beautiful. What a great idea. So each block is only 2 fabrics. If I'm guessing correctly, I can't quite tell, but it looks like, is one of those whites fussy cut, or is that just the shadow showing through from in around the seam allowance? Beautiful. I love that. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. Diane says, my H quilt in progress. I'm working on an H quilt for my 5-year-old Hunter. He is loving it. Thank you for this inspiration. I plan on hand quilting this one. Wow, those look great. Super, super. So her H blocks are on the floor there in very woodsy colors. Looks definitely very masculine. I love that. What little boy or girl with an H in their name wouldn't love an H quilt? Mine is in progress. It's getting quilted right now. I also have done, I can show you that. I can show you that part. I can show you the alternate variation. Don't you just love wheelie chairs? That is, if I could scoot myself back. This is the alternate one to the H block, and it's pinwheels instead of H's, and they're still on the tilt, and they still have really fun sashing, and the blocks are ridiculously cute, And so this will go on the machine after I get the big one out. And as soon as they're quilted and bound, I'll write the pattern for both and get that uploaded to the website. So the pattern will include both variations, instructions for the topsy-turvy triangles and the funky checkerboard sashing, and everything included. It's more fun to be scrappy, isn't it? It's just great. I love it. I love it. So I'll put that one there. And one more and we'll sew some more. I love that. That is so great. You know, I really like the light H's on the darker background. Those are really stunning too. I'm glad you used everything in those. Okay. So here's one from, it says Mom Stockton 02. Thank you so much for Quilt-Cam tonight. I'm working on my part 5 of my king size Celtic solstice, which will be my state fair entry in August. You go, girl. August will be here before we know it. And I'm trying to guess what you're sewing on. It looks like a 404. I'm just guessing by the machine foot that I see here. But she's working on her Celtic solstice there, some vintage machine love. You know, these vintage machines that are straight stitch only really do give the best, most beautiful 1/4 inch seam I've ever seen, because the feed dogs are narrow. They don't go wide to accommodate zigzag. They're narrow, so you have really good control of your fabric. That is absolutely going to be beautiful. Lovely. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to put these little hummers right side together. Now that we got the right background with the right block, these are the 2 little rectangles that go with this pair. Don't let me forget. Haven't talked about Mackinac Island yet. We haven't had a chance. I absolutely had the best time at the Grand Hotel. This was my 2nd time, and I'll be back again in 2019. So another 3 years we'll be there. And it's going to get harder to get in. We had over 180. The last time I was there, we had just about 100. So in 2 years, the event has doubled. I'll be back in 3 years. And honestly, what they were talking about doing is running it for 2 weeks, so you could get into week 1 or get into week 2, and the teachers would stay for both weeks. And it would be the same classes, and you just choose one or the other, not both, because you got to give people a chance to get into the classes that they want. Everybody deserves a fair share, but that remains to be seen. So if you're wanting to attend the needle art seminar at the Grand Hotel, as soon as I have more information, of course, I will get it up onto my calendar, but it'll be the first full weekend in May of 2019, and it starts actually on the Friday of that weekend, and it goes all the way through Wednesday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 days of classes. And yes, you stay at the Grand, and it's absolutely phenomenal. We were really lucky with the weather. No snow, no ice. It was a little chilly, but the sun was out most every day, and got out and walked about the island and just really enjoyed it. Even the tulips were blooming by the time that I left. They weren't when I arrived, but the lilacs hadn't even, none of the trees had leaves yet. So it's that far behind compared to what we have going on here. But those who came absolutely loved it, and said that they're glad that they did and that they would love to come again. So if you haven't come yet, you're in for a tough run as far as getting reservations go. They've got a great lineup for next year as well. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think Lisa Bonjean is one of them. And 2018, they've just filled their slate of instructors, and they're working on 2019. So I'll be there for 19. Okay, not so shabby. Very funky chartreuse greeny yellow that is not found in this background fabric. But does it matter? Nope. Here's this periwinkle in the center that is kind of found in these flowers. So that kind of ties it together a little bit. But don't be afraid with clashing things. You don't have to match greens exactly. You don't have to match blues exactly. It's nice to have them kind of even clash just a little bit. So it's not so super matchy-matchy. Let's pull another batch out here. So my rule when I was kitting these up was I needed a strip long enough that I could get 3 rectangles. Anything too short for 3 rectangles became the accent color piece. And I think there is an aqua. Oh, I like that. We'll just stick this little aqua plaid in there. And then we got to find a background. Those go to that. That'll work. Nope, I think I actually want one of those more creamy ones. So I can be kind of picky choosy. Okay. Just do whatever you like. Put together what you want. It's a lot of fun. I just love how solid these machines feel. No vibration, no skitter. They don't bog down when going over seams. All right, now this one's ready. And yes, I do just a lot of finger pressing, and then I'll iron it when I'm done. Oh yeah, we got to get the sides on. These one guys. No, these guys. I didn't sleep much last night. I was so excited about getting the H quilt into the machine, and of course, that took longer than I thought because I had to piece a backing for it. And it wasn't as simple as just putting 2 pieces of fabric together. I had to use leftover blocks in the backing. So it was 9 o'clock before the quilt got in the machine. I think I quilted until midnight. I was so excited to see how it was going to look. So this morning, I think I woke up at 8:30. I never do that. I never sleep that late. But it felt kind of good, like playing hooky. I think somebody's boiling macaroni upstairs. It must be Jeff. He just got back from work. He loves making a big pot of mac and cheese, and I can smell it from here. Okay, so here's our 2 halves, 2 identical halves. This one's going to come up and be the top. I honestly don't know of how many of these blocks to make, but they are just so addictive. It's just cuter than a regular 9 patch. Okay. So here we have the floral, the brown floral that people say, I don't understand brown. Yes, but there's that lovely turquoise for the center that kind of pulls out the turquoise in this print. And then there's the little, that creamy beige with all of those molded designers. Somebody sent me a yard of this. What are you going to do with that? It has all those names on it. Cut it small and use it as a neutral. All right. Let me cut these and then we will check on some more email. My wrist is buzzing. These small little mats. This one is about, well, it's 11 by 8. This is the one that lives in my suitcase too, for doing small stuff when I'm on the road. But I love small tools for when I'm doing small jobs. Yeah, just enough left over that if I needed to square up again, I could, but not a whole lot of waste. Okay. Jane Cleveland says, watching you and a hockey game at the same time. The girl has got to have her priorities, right? Is this bothering anybody? I just noticed this like hanging out there. Okay. She says, I'm also sewing on my Hexie class that I'm taking, and that's from Jane in chilly, New Hampshire. So we need to send some warmth and sunshine up to New Hampshire. But she's watching her hockey game all tucked in. That's wonderful. Mary Crowther says, I'm recuperating from my first time at Quilt Market in Salt Lake. Did you have a good time? I know what Quilt Market can be, and it is a shock to your system, and it's a whiplash to your entire being, because it's like everywhere you go, it's so you go home with a sore neck because you've been squirreling all over the place. She says, I had so much fun and learned a lot. Walked my legs off. New rulers. Sounds like September will be a great month. And yes, it will. And she's in Western Washington. I had fun watching all the Quilt Market news feeds on my Instagram. And I got to the point where I wasn't getting anything done, so I turned it off. But it's fun to see people meeting people and all the cool quilts and everything that's going on. This is from Mom Stockton, Sarah says, I'm sewing on a 403A. It has a perfect scant 1/4 inch. It is a workhorse, and I love it. I thought I recognized that slide plate in front. It's the same slide plate that's on my 404, which is straight stitch only. Wonderful. So Mary Ellen Adams, how are you, Girl House, Missouri? She says, 2 quilt tops from your String X pattern will be gifted to a 3-year-old neighbor, the purple one, and my niece's baby, the blue and yellow one. The other 3 photos are string blocks pieced using your method with telephone book pages sewn on my treadle. Good girl, you got it going. She says they will be donated to a local organization that wants small quilts for new moms. The visiting nurses teach the mothers about tummy time for infants, and often there is nothing appropriate in the home for the babies to lie on the floor. All of this fun is thanks to you, your string piecing inspiration, your patterns, your love of vintage machines. It's all your fault. Oh, these are so great. Oh my gosh, she's got so many. So here's the purple one. And this is what happens when you just decide to separate your strings by color family. I have one basket that's Scrappy everything if I wanted just to do a light dark kitchen sink quilt, but most of the time I'm pulling from my strings in color families. Love that purple one. That's the String X pattern. And here's one that's blue on yellow with a little bit of orange thrown in those blues. How that sparkles. That is absolutely stunning. And if you had your strings separated by color family, how easy would this be? Yes, I know my life is in Rubbermaid tubs. I'll show you some in a second. Pink and orange and yellow. Oh my. There's another string inspiration. Just playing with the colors. It is just so fun. It's like finger painting. You just choose which colors you want. Those are absolutely beautiful, Mary Ellen. Just love the polka dots in there too. Really cool. And then here's a more Scrappy everything. And just in brights. See how different just by playing color families. So wonderful. And what more? Uno más. Here's blue and yellow, where the blue is more the focus. There's a couple of oranges thrown in there, and it is just absolutely fabulous. I've been participating with a couple of gals on Instagram. Yard Girl 60. It's really, it's Susan, but it's funny how you know people by their little address, their little address, and the other one is Go Kim. And if I met her, I'd probably call her Go Kim, but her name is Kim. They've been doing a color of the week challenge, and I jumped in when things were blue, and I did some blue string blocks, and then things were green, and I added green triangles around my pinwheels for this as my green challenge, because you're supposed to post a picture of what's going on. So today, actually this started yesterday, because the color of the week is put out on Mondays, and yesterday was my first day home, and I had so much to do I really couldn't even look at their news feeds until I got all the book orders out and all that stuff. And the color this week is orange. So I pulled out my orange string bucket, and lo and behold, I found oodles of orange string pieced pumpkins that I had completely forgotten about. That shows you how long it's been since I got into my bucket of orange string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought at one time I was going to stash them. Now I don't think I will. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 pumpkins. It's almost a patch. It's almost a pumpkin patch full of these orange string pumpkins in this string bin. So this has now been pulled forward, and I am string piecing some more pumpkins. I think I just want to stagger them on black and maybe throw in a couple of white pumpkins, because that seems to be all the decorating rage. So I would do a couple of neutral pumpkins in amongst all of these orange pumpkins on black, and just have it be. So while I was supposed to be doing something else, I got into my orange strings. But the whole point of this is how fun it is when you separate your strings by color family, because you can just grab the bin and go. And the best thing is I've got so much variety just in this one bin, and they go from a rusty orange all the way through the orange spectrum to gold, and they're everywhere in there. And yes, there's other colors on the orange. There's a blue cat on this orange. So I'm going to have some fun. Who knows how many pumpkins I'll make, but this is because of Mary Ellen's post of her string blocks. It's a lot easier to do some really fun stuff if you just set yourself up a little system, and you can do it in Ziploc bags if you want. You can buy those extra large Ziploc bags and put, you know, orange strings in one, pink strings in another, blue strings in another, purple strings in another, and you've got all the paints right there to pull whatever color family you want with whatever color family. And I love having my strings this way. You know, my hubby calls this my mulch buckets because they're not even strips. And I don't even know why this is in here. Oh, because it's really not great for getting strips out of. But I'm going to just string it down into whatever. So hunks and chunks and odd bits and stuff like that I don't want to cut down to normal widths. You know, maybe it's just something like this that I want to see go away. Those go in the string bin, and it's endless possibilities in Sterlite containers. So I like this size, but I have even bigger ones for the colors that I have a lot of, like blue or neutral or red. But for the other oddball colors, this size works just great for the strings. So here's some of what I was doing with the blue ones. Cutting them into equilateral triangles. These will be fun. Just wait to see what these will be. So I missed last week's color of the week for really working on because it was green. So there may be some green string piecing at the cabin this week. We're going to go on Thursday, but I need to do more orange for this week. Too many projects, too little time. Okay. But I love the idea of focusing on one color a week, because you can really see a little dent And if you're doing a multicolored quilt, just focus on that one color this week. Maybe you were doing rainbow colored 9 patches. So this week you would make the orange and neutral ones, and then next week you'll make the whatever color and neutral ones. And I asked them if they would continue doing it. I'd like to see the colors cycle back around, but you know, we could do that ourselves. We don't need anybody else's permission to do that. But it's been fun to see. If you are on Instagram, look up the hashtag BScrappy, BESCRAPPY, one word, BScrappy, and you'll see what folks are doing in orange this week. Okay, so here's this little block. I should give it an iron press, except the iron's turned off. Ah, I thought maybe the iron was tripping the switch for this, but this doesn't look so shabby. There's a little bit of brown in it, but it's kind of okay, fine. And it even doesn't look too shabby up next to this one. So we just keep a-doing them. Okay. Marlene Jordan says, thanks for the inspiration on this scrappy quilt top. I was inspired by your pattern. I think you called Narragansett Blues. I actually started the 4 patches as leaders and enders some time ago, then cut up a navy blue sweatshirt with red embroidered poinsettias from Mom that my sister sent her and Mom wore for years. Mom passed almost 2 years ago now, and I also used random blue scraps, repurposed men's blue shirts from thrift stores, and the backing was patched from scraps too. No pictures of that yet. Hasn't been quilted yet, but hopefully local quilt shop can help me because it's huge. So here she is with her own adaptation of Narragansett Blues from More Adventures with Leaders and Enders. And I love that she put the sweatshirt bits in there. That's what memory quilts are about. You know, our memories are tactile, and we feel things and we see fabric and we remember, and things aren't always 100% cotton. And sometimes it's a t-shirt, sometimes it's a sweatshirt that meant something personal, and you can stabilize that with some iron on and just piece it right in and quilt it right in. And that's a statement. That's a memory that will be there forever. And I think that's just wonderful. These are just gorgeous. I love what you've done with this. Let's see her other photo. She sent 2 photos, so we'll see if that has the center. I love how the oranges sparkle in there. I don't know if you can see it. If I turn it this way, does it work? There we go. If you can see what she's done with her Narragansett Blues there. Beautiful. Great job. Thanks for sharing that. You know, I have this statement or this saying, and this leads me to another thing, because I'm really thinking we need some Quiltville t-shirts. But I'm looking for a slogan, and I want to put a block design. And I think I have too many slogans, but you know, one of them that I say all the time is, if you build the 4 patches, the quilt will come. And in the case of this one, they really do. Susan says, I've been watching you for about a year, but the first time I've written you. Just received your book, Adventures with Leaders and Enders, and want to make all of the quilts. First need to finish the mystery quilt. Clue 4 is killing me. Decided to do a few Clue 5 to break things up. And she says, thanks for giving me an e-guild. You are so welcome. So she must be part of our Quiltville's Open Studio group on Facebook. We've been having a lot of fun in there. Also, another thing to be looking forward to, you know, we are just a week away from June. June is the 11th anniversary of my blog. So the blog has been around 11 years. Can you believe it? 11. How? I don't know, but 11 years. In July, we've got our new Leader Ender Challenge starting, and if there isn't time to get it done before I go on the cruise to Alaska, we will do it when we get back from Alaska. So at some point in July, we'll release our brand new Leader Ender Challenge for the year. You'll have all year to work on it. Anybody that finishes it in 2 weeks and is putting binding on, is disqualified because there was not a real leader-ender challenge. So no, I'm just teasing. If you can do it as fast as you want, but if you're working on that as a primary, something else needs to be your leader and ender while you're working on it. So just some fun things that are coming up in the future. Okay, so Rebecca says, look what I've got delivered in our cul-de-sac today. I've never used them for string piecing, but you've inspired me. Do you think the neighbors will notice if theirs are missing? Ta-da! It's the San Diego phone book. You know, my thought is this. If it sits in a plastic bag at the end of their driveway for 3 days, and I've seen them come in and out, and they don't pick it up, that phone book is mine. Mine. You know, either that or it's going to get rained on or run over, and it's going to end up in the trash anyway. If they really wanted it, they'd pick it up. So I say, yeah, that's a yellow book. And this is San Diego. So, and it's only this big. So look what's happening to phone books. They're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I've got, this one was given me the last time I went up to teach in Virginia. Remember when phone books looked like this and they were this size? These ones are getting harder and harder and harder to find. So if you work somewhere public, if they have old phone books on hand, stacked back in the drawer, whatever it is, this one's date, well, it says since 1930 on the front, but I don't think that's the date. This one, I don't remember if it said what it was, if there is a date on it, but it was like, oh, 2007, 2008 in here. So we're looking at, you know, 9 years old on this one. And I think that, you know, if you can find books like this, put out the word. You know, there are so many more, I would say, elderly people who still use phone books, who still keep phone books. They want to know the phone number for something. They're not Googling. They're looking in here for the number. See if they want to recycle their old phone books your direction. Another place to check is like college bookstores, sometimes the post office. Find them, because this paper is absolutely the best paper piecing paper I have ever come across. When you're doing string piecing and you just want to cover a shape, you want it just for a foundation, it's going to come off the back. No, I don't use this when I'm doing something that I want to see the line to sew on the line. If I'm doing a traditional block by sewing on the line, I don't use these. But just for regular string piecing, baby, this book is golden. All 5 pounds of it. Okay. Congratulations. You've just now committed a felony by saving all the phone books from your cul-de-sac. Okay. Too funny. I love it. I love it. Okay, Sarah Walden says, cannot sew tonight, had cataract surgery today on the left eye and hope to be able to get all focused in a couple of days. And my battery is down to 10%, which means this must be, see, this is what happens. My computer says battery low. Hang on, I got to check the cord. Aha, we've come unplugged. Ta-da! The lights went dark. Now the lights are on. Oh, good. I moved everything. Okay. Better? All right. It's always a crapshoot as far as how Quilt-Cam's going to go. We're live. This is not rehearsed. Things become unplugged, and at least the sound is still on, right? Okay. So she says, hope to be all focused in a few days. Now I have had both eyes refurbished. She said, I did some 8-inch string blocks and made enough to do a baby quilt. They are put together and are waiting on the quilting. And that's Sarah from Weaver, Alabama. And this one says, Pineapple Crazy from Fran in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. She says, at the machine tonight, the beginning of your Pineapple Crazy, which will likely drive me crazy by the time I'm done. You know, it's one of those things that you just take in small bites. Do one block at a time and set it aside. Don't count the number of blocks. Don't count the number of pieces. Just work on it in small little moments of time, and you'll be absolutely fine with it. And then you'll find yourself things like, oh, this little piece, I can't throw this away. It's going to be big enough to use somewhere. And I don't know. This is what, 3/4 of an inch by 1.5 inches, something like that. Oh, it's perfect. It's going to go in the center round in that pineapple. I just love it. My life is in pieces, and I'm having a great time. She says, just binding garden party, which we worked on October's Caribbean cruise. Picture another time. But she sent a picture of her pineapple crazy in progress. What a great photo. I love this. I can see your pieces. I can see your foundations. Wonderful. So let's biggie this up a little bit so you can see what's going on. And that's her setup. That's Fran in Winnipeg. Has spring arrived in Winnipeg? I hope so. I hope you've got leaves on your trees. You know, when it was so cold, this is so funny. Not really funny. We had Canadians with us also in Mackinac Island because it's easy for them to get to. But you get there, and it's May, and I've had spring here for a month, and all of my trees were leafed out, and everything was blooming, and my world was a bouquet. And you get up to northern Michigan, and there's not a leaf to be seen, and things are still cold, and the poor tulips were just shivering, waiting for some sunshine. And it makes you wonder, wow, if it's this cold here, how does anybody live further north than this? You know, but there are hardy stock everywhere, and we've got quilting to keep us busy. I love the time that I spent in Winnipeg. It's a beautiful city. Okay, Jody Moriarty says, graduation quilt binding. Hello from Indianapolis. So glad for Quilt-Cam tonight. I'm scrambling to get the binding on this graduation quilt for my niece. I have had the top completed for several months, and then I got a bad case of quilt project ADD. I love it. We call it ADQD, attention deficit quilters disorder. We've got that going on. She says, I've got many quilts in progress, but had to stop to get serious about finishing this one because it needs to be delivered to Iowa no later than Saturday. So she says, shout out to my Aunt Mary and my cousin Susan, who are both watching from South Carolina. And here is, oh, I love it. It's a plus quilt in grays and golds and black. That looks like a wonderful graduation present. Beautiful job. She's going to love it. She or he? I see a logo thing. So she says, oh, very cool. My niece was accepted into the nursing program at the University of Iowa, so that's why it's black and gold. Beautiful. She will love it. Terrific. Okay. Pat Kilmaine from Alaska. She says, since the weekend, I have been going through scraps and fat quarters to find lots of colors for Razzle Dazzle. I will make it for a friend's first grandson to be born the end of July. And who knew I had so much pink fabric? It's about the only color I'm rejecting for this quilt. So everything in but the pink, because it's for a grandson to be born. That's wonderful. So I spent some time with Pat at the Grand Hotel. She and a crazy group of Alaskans come, and wherever they show up, you know it's always going to be a good time. And of course, they've got their adopted sister, Alessandra from the United Kingdom, who comes to the Grand Hotel from the UK via Alaska. So, you know, we've got our priorities straight, and spending time with our quilty friends is just the best possible time ever. So again, if you have the chance to come to the Grand Hotel or on one of my cruises, or where we'll also be doing Razzle Dazzle this year, or hopefully a local guild that's near you, or a retreat or a shop that I'm going to be teaching at, I would love to meet you, and we sew it all up and have just a grand time. I want to get this block sewn together, and then we'll call it a night. Let's put some more pieces out here on the table. So I've got, here's 3 oranges, and I've pretty much figured out if I lay these in a certain way, hopefully I don't get really confused. But these two rectangles go for this one. So I'm setting them. Don't let me forget. Okay. All right. I need a center color, and I think it's going to be this fuchsia. And then we need, ooh, will that work? That might just work. Is that too busy? That's fairly too busy. So if I have too many busy fabrics together, I'll save the busy one for something else. Let's do, oh yeah, I like that. We'll do these roses. That's much more better. So it's okay. Whoops, those are awful short. It's okay to reject something, set it aside, and find something else for it to go with. I wish that I could just sew these until the cows come home, but I have on my agenda for tomorrow, I have to finish the block for the next 100 blocks by 100 designers that's out in November. It's due, and somehow I fell off of their email list. So I did not get the notice that they were asking for people to participate in the blog hop. And so I emailed them and I said, well, wait a minute, I want to be on the blog hop. Didn't you get our email? No, I didn't get your email. And then I had to email back and say, when is the next block due? Because I think it's like right now and I haven't heard anything. And they said, you didn't get our email? No, I didn't get your email. So there's nothing like cramming. So tomorrow I'll be at the design board for that. I've done all kinds of different colors, like the last one I did patriotic. The one before that I actually did Christmas colors. And I'm thinking that I want to do something kind of odd. It's going to be out in November, so maybe something in autumn tones. I haven't done anything brown. We will do brown, maybe brown turquoise. I don't know. We'll play with something and see what happens. But it just seems like you just finish one deadline. Oh, you got a little bit skinny. So see, here's my problem. I put that rectangle up here, and do you see I've got fabric hanging over? Instead of trimming everything off, and this is important because I know this is cutting off the top of my head. I'm going to change this. There we go. Okay. Instead of cutting everything off before you cut, turn it around and look at your seam. And can you see where my seam got a little bit skinny there at the end? Fix the seam. Don't trim everything off. Fix the seam. The seam needs to be in the right spot for the unit to turn out the right size. Okay, so we're just going to set that guy aside. Press this to the light. Press this to the dark. Things should be coming out the right size, and if they're not, examine why. Sliver trimming is an absolute last case scenario for me. Oops. Much better. Okay. Yep, now it's the right size. And I'm going to cheat because I want to sew this last. That was a fake leader ender, and you didn't see that. My tumblers are up at the cabin. Okay. So here's our two identical block halves. And this one comes around to be the top. All right. I hate doing that. It's such a waste of thread. Alrighty. I think this turned out the cutest ever. Even with all that texty Moda designer stuff on it. It's super cute just the way that it is. I love these. I love these. I don't want to work on a quilt maker block. I want to sew these. And string pumpkins. Yeah. All right, couple more, and then we're going to call it a night. This girl turns into a pumpkin at 10:30, and we're at 10:21 right now. Just so you know, we have 9 minutes till that happens. Okay, we're going to the way top. Gail Allen says, working on the second one of these tonight, and she's from Verona, Virginia. How are you, Gail? Oh, I love this. This is very cool. So she's working on the second one of these. You see those lovely elongated blocks with the plus in the center? That would be a great masculine quilt. Wouldn't that be just great out of recycled shirts? That is beautiful, Gail. Thank you for sharing. I love your idea. Love that idea. Back to the top of the news feed here. Bobby Pyland or Pilland says, Quiltville, exclamation point, exclamation point. She says, my first sewing machine my mom and dad got me in the early to mid 1970s. It's a Montgomery Ward, and her name is Mona. She still works like a charm, and she's in Northeast North Carolina. How cute is that? It's a little toy one. Little electric foot pedal. This is how we now see. Now, you see that battery low on the phone? Is this a good sign or what? Or what? Okay, we are down to 15%. We have time for just a couple more. Between the laptop getting unplugged and the everything and the this light going off and Okay. We have one here that says trees. From France, says trees outside my 5th floor balcony, and this was the Winnipeg. Trees have leaves in Winnipeg. That means it's officially tree season. Wonderful. Love it. Okay. Peggy Clark, how are you, girl? She says, tonight I finished the binding on this UFO queen size quilt. It's called Redesigned 9. So many settings for the one simple block. Oh, yes, I love this one. That is so cool. So she's got a big and scrappy going on here. And I love those blocks, too, because you can, just like the split 9 patch, you can twist and turn those any which way. I think that's also the one called Sunny Lanes. Am I right? Traditional block. Love them. Love them. I love the connection to traditional blocks and all of their names and all of their settings and all the way to turn things. I may quilt with modern fabrics and modern technology, and I love my rotary cutter and my rulers and everything, all those other modern conveniences, but I love being rooted in tradition as far as, you know, blocks and patterns and things that we know by heart. I've had a wonderful time with you guys tonight. I leave for Illinois again on the 3rd, and this time I'm going down to the Quad Cities near Moline, and I'll be there for a few days of workshops and a couple of lectures with the guild there. Weather should be beautiful, and it's a lovely area. I visited there a few years back, so we'll have that fun coming in, and of course we will work in another Quilt-Cam as soon as we have a chance, and I know when that will fit. Be watching on the blog. I will announce it, and we will do it together. Other things going on. There's a giveaway right now. It went live 2 days ago from the airport when I was sitting there waiting for a missed connection at Midway in Chicago. And that's for the Quilt Maker magazine, 2 issues. I'm doing the May, June, and the July, August 2016 issues together, along with a triangularity pattern by Jenny Baker and a full of scrap little pin that you can wear. You just need to enter on that blog post. So go through the list, scroll back a couple of days, find that post, click the blue button on the screen that says add your link. Put in your name and your email address only. You don't need your website. You don't need any other information. If you don't have a website, I don't care. You've got an email address, name, email address. Just leave the other fields blank and you'll be entered to win in that drawing. That drawing happens Thursday evening. I've got another fun giveaway happening here. Oh, well, maybe in the next week, maybe before I leave for Illinois. It's all about barns. I've got 2 different things all about quilt barns coming up that you're going to like, and it'll be a double giveaway. So that'll be coming within the next week or so. Other than that, if it's still early where you are and you're just getting going, don't stop just because I'm turning into a pumpkin. See if you can put in another 30 minutes, another hour. See if you can make some progress. Find your stride, your second wind, and enjoy the piecing time. And enjoy the whole process of putting the pieces together and making a quilt with love. Until next time, this is Bonnie Hunter from the basement at Quiltville signing out. Good night, everybody. See you later. It's been fun. Let's do it again next time.